Welcome to another Conversations on Awaz-e-Haqiqat, which stands for the voice of truth. I'm your host, Chris Malika Bhadra, and depending on whichever part of the world you're listening to us from, today or tonight, today's topic is something that is very, very close to my heart, and that is researching on domestic violence. We talk about domestic violence, but what happens when somebody is researching on such a sensitive yet a very, very crucial issue for the community, especially our migrant communities? I have a very, very special guest with me, someone I've known for more than 12 years in Melbourne now. But before we start the entire conversation, a gentle trigger warning to all our listeners. As you already have heard by now, we are going to be talking about the intricacies of DV, partner violence, and all those things that are associated with domestic violence. We would recommend you to step away from the conversation if at any point of time you feel that you don't want to or you're not able to listen to the conversation. Take your time, please do what you have to do, and please come back when you feel ready for the conversation because, as I mentioned, it's going to be a very, very important conversation ahead. So, on that note, I'm very, very happy, lucky, and privileged to introduce my guest on the podcast, Triparna Di, as I call her. She is a graduate researcher specializing in domestic and family violence with early professional experience in the domestic and family violence sector. She positions herself as a social scientist, given her academic trajectory across sociology and social work, which underpin many areas of social science inquiry. DV and family violence intersect closely with both disciplines, requiring integrated sociological and social work approaches. On that note, very good morning, Triparna. Thank you for joining me. How are you doing?
I'm good, Chris, and thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to talk about on this topic, which is really important and significant, I think. And this is a really privileged to talk about this topic. And thank you so much for this phenomenal introductions of me. So this is really good to have a discussions this morning. And thank you. Yes.
It's a pleasure, Triparna, because every time people like yourselves come onto the platform, I get to interact and my mindset gets broadened. Thanks to you. And we are wishing each other good morning, listeners, because we are in Melbourne. It's morning time, so that might vary for wherever you're listening to us from. All right, Triparna, I'll get into the conversation. And the first thing that I want to know from you is, you've been in the academic sector of research for DV, right? How has the academic definition of domestic violence evolved in recent research, especially concerning the shift from focusing only on physical acts to including coercive control? How has the academic role shifted here?
So, Chris, what I'm understanding from your questions that what the researchers or academicians used to think about the domestic violence, which was before, and what they're thinking right now, the domestic violence, what is domestic violence? So, so this is kind of the before academician used to think the domestic violence is only the physical violence. So what like when you are seeing someone, just the visible, the bruises, cuts are on your appearance, and some of the punching sign and then slapping sign. So that is only for the physical violence, right? So that only included that was only included in the domestic violence definition. But now it is kind of shifting from that thought to another thought, which is coercive control, because which is far beyond of this, physical violence, and that is really intense, and that's really impactful on your mind. Okay, which is coercive control, which I think it is more harmful than physical violence.
Absolutely. Just for our listeners, someone who may not have ever heard of coercive control, would you be able to elaborate on this a bit? What do you mean in layman terms? What is coercive control?
Yeah, coercive control means that day-to-day activities, oh, what you wear, you should not wear this. Okay, to who you are going to speak. You should not speak to that man, or you should not speak to that friends. Oh, this is not good. Every day, what you eat, what you wear, who to talk, everyday person in the relationship try to control you and the subdue you and then dominate you. Okay, as
Right.
if you do not have that kind of independence to talk about yourself, what do
Mm.
you like, right? If, oh,
Mm.
okay, this is not your color. Okay, I know your color. What is your color? Your color is red. And then maybe the person think, oh, no, 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 my color is blue. I like blue. I like yellow. I
Yeah.
like green. Why is that?
Mm.
So this is the difference, like the coercive control, like the person just the coerced, the we like coerce of the power and the behavior. This is kind of the pattern of the behavior, right?
Yeah.
Their
Mm.
mindset.
Mm.
So try to control someone day-to-day activities which hurts their mentally, emotionally, psychologically, every part of the body, like it's hurting.
Right.
So people, I think this is people, most of the people do not think that it is the bodily experience. Bodily experience is not only the external experience, it's just
Mm.
the internal experience as well,
Absolutely.
right? And
Mm.
that
Mm.
is related to your mental health, that is
Mm.
related to your
Mm.
mind, which is
Mm.
really important. If your mind, if your mental health is not working in that way, then how could you just do your day-to-day activities?
Yes.
So that is why it is like a coercive control. If somebody don't understand, this is the like day-to-day activity, somebody wants to control you, just trying to put you down, and then
Mm.
trying to snatch away the identity, like what you are. Okay, so you especially in South Asian context, I can
Mm.
say that the when girls marry and they just come to the groom's
Yeah.
family, so they just think that that girl is a property. Okay, just forget about your own identity, this is your new identity, as if the girls are reborn. It's not like that. You
Mm.
have to intact your own foundations, own identity, right? So this is how that
It works.
yeah, that
Mm.
works. And then
Mm.
this is like a coercive control, means that like forget about everything, like the person doesn't exist in this relationship. Okay,
Mm.
so what I just want you to say, just say that. Okay, so this is how the
That is.
coercive, yeah. So and that is far more harmful than physical violence.
Absolutely. But Tripanadi, very well explained. Thank you for that. But I'll be the devil's advocate here for just a second, right? I'm listening to this definition. I've never come across this word before. And I am the person who's doing this to my partner, right? Sometimes
Mm,
what happens is people are just possessive, that I
mm.
don't want you to talk to anyone else. I don't. So, how do you, as a researcher, how do you differentiate between someone who's just possessive while someone who's trying to slowly gain control over the other partner? Is there a difference between that?
So the possessiveness, I think, is different. So the person may be respecting other person, okay,
Mm.
but they are just trying to protect the person from the different, trying to protect from harm or
Right.
something. But when there is no respect, there is
Mm.
no kind of, just giving the importance to other person,
Mm.
don't make the person feel they're okay in the relationship. It's kind of why the person is living in fear. So the
Mm.
fear is the main thing, or main, the main,
Keep
what is
there,
that?
there.
Yes,
Mm.
right, main area of this relationship. The
Mm.
when the two persons are cohabiting, okay, so the why the
Mm.
one person is fearful, because oh my god, I don't know the other person what is going to say. Oh no, no, he's very going possessive. It's not the possessiveness or nothing. The person simply try to control you, dominate you, all right, and then try to just think that okay, you are my property and I can do anything with you. All right, so this
Mm.
is the thing, just the happening. This is the things actually happens in the relationship, why the control and then possessiveness. Even to be very honest, I don't like this possessiveness. So it is kind of, I don't think so it is kind of possessiveness. It's kind of
Right.
they try to control somebody and just put the other person in a fear, in the relationship.
Yes.
So it's
True.
kind of the creating the fear. Oh my God, what I'm just going to say? I don't know. Okay, so do I say anything bad about this person? Oh no, no, oh no. I just don't know when I go back to home that what is going to happen. Oh, this is the possessiveness, actually the word, the person's using violence, which is PUV, just manipulate the situation. It is
Yeah.
not like that he loves her a lot he loves her or respect her. It's not like that. The possessiveness, this kind of word they're just using to, they know that what they're doing, they know what they're doing, right? So they know, they're aware of that, what is their behavior is. So but it is kind of thing, that they just trying to dominate the person and control, and then put the other person in fear, so that he can just control her mind. It's not the possessiveness. And this is the possessive, she's a, oh
Yeah.
my husband is, my partner is very possessive. It's not like that, no.
Okay. Thank you, Triparna. Moving on to what the research field tells us, right, Triparna? So, how can research better identify resistive violence, which is victims using violence to survive, compared to primary abusive behavior?
Yeah. So before I just go on to that topic, so I just wanted to mention that,
Yep.
the to reflect on your previous question,
Yes.
that how research like has moved from that, so definitions, the physical violence to coercive control. So the research has moved from seeing domestic violence as just physical assault, but to understanding it is as an ongoing pattern of control that may not involve the physical violence at all. So
Mm,
that is in the simple, the term. Okay.
absolutely.
So
Mm,
then they just included the coercive control. So the domestic violence is not just about the incident, it is about the patterns and
mm,
power. And coercive control can be more harmful and more dangerous than physical violence. So modern research recognizes psychological violence, emotional violence, economic abuse as central, not secondary.
absolutely. Thank you, Triparna. That's
Yeah.
very important.
And then now I just go on to moving on to your next question. So, uh, how the person, sorry, what is your
The
question?
question is, Triparna,
Yeah.
how does research basically better identify resistive violence
Yes.
as compared to or which may be different from primary abusive behavior?
Yeah. So resistive violence is, of course, there is a mm, there is a clear distinguish
Yep.
between this resistive violence. What happened that, resistive violence is kind of, when you can imagine, Grace, that in a relationship, when one person all the time just put you down, humiliate you, and all the time talk negative about the other person, there's no respect, then how do
Mm,
you feel? All
right.
the time, day and night, day and night, day and night. How do you feel?
Mm,
So the thing is that you don't feel good, right? So resistive violence, when researchers focused on this resistive violence, means that we have to shift our analysis from the incident based,
mm,
better to move on to the pattern of the behavior in the relationship. So the first identify that who is the main aggressor in the relationship,
mm,
right? So it is very common. So victim survivor treated as a mutual aggressor,
right.
right? So they are not, victim survivors not treated as kind of the why they just do that. The police failure to identify this,
Mm,
because um, I had an experience working with victim survivors when I used to work as a practitioner. So I clearly saw how the police failed to do that.
mm,
So that person was really suffering, and I was witnessing with that suffer because of this de-identifications of the resistive violence,
Mm,
and
mm,
then they treated her all the time mutual aggressor.
mm,
And resistance, the researchers said resistance is very common,
mm,
but it is very, very poorly recognized. So system has to be changed to address this issue.
mm.
So the research found the most women experiencing the intimate partner violence
Yep.
resist abuse in some way. Uh, Yet research and system often treat women as passive victim, interpret the resistance as evidence of mutual violence, and resistance is not rare or exceptional. Okay, so it is not kind of the mutual violence, can't do the mutual violence. So I can just give you, because I can really relate to my experience to this kind of question.
Yep.
So I have seen women that victim survivor just constantly her partner just instigating her. Oh, you're not good. You just came from this side. Oh, what you can do? In the family, in the relationship,
Yep.
just when this, the emotional violence constantly happens, and then
Mm, mm.
women just they keep enduring this violence, but when water is going over the is flowing over the over your
It's a
head,
threshold level, yeah.
yeah, threshold level, so what you just do, you can't just resist, right? Like
Mm,
you just have to, like, you have to stop this person.
mm,
Okay.
mm.
And when at the heat of the moment, maybe victim survivors not able to understand what she is doing, like what is his behavior. She just wanted to resist this violence because she just can't endure this anymore.
Mm, mm.
So
Agreed.
because the current research is focused on this, like the who is the the primary abuser. Primary abuser is the POV.
Mm,
Okay, because constantly POV, what they do, like belittle the person, just put them down, and then controlling, coercive control.
yes.
So that is related to this
Mm,
mutual, not the mutual aggressor. That is related to this, the escalations of the violence.
yes.
But the
Yes.
police always treat, okay, so these two persons are involved. So this is she is the mutual aggressor, even though this person, that victim survivor, got the intervention order.
Mm. But Tripanadi, when you talk about instigation, right, that's a very important word in my opinion.
Yeah,
Instigation. A lot of people believe that, oh, no, no, you made me angry, right?
yeah,
I think it's not true because nobody is born angry. If you keep poking me, obviously I'll retaliate back.
yes,
When you go through the research paper, or you've done extensive research yourself, we keep talking about, oh, we need awareness, we need education, but how do you change this mindset of instigation? Because a lot of South Asian people, they are not used to women being the people who are speaking up or resisting. So how does research help in a way that can demystify this stigma that in you made me angry or that you instigated me? How does that work?
yeah. So the research, because the research is a powerful tool.
Mm,
Okay,
yes.
so
Yes.
that tool definitely impacts on the policy. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so the
Mm,
policy should change in terms of the laws. Policy should change to address this issue. So
mm.
current research is focusing on that. This is
Okay.
the one, that who is the primary instigator, who
Mm,
is the constantly doing this
exactly.
violence against women, so that
Mm,
women become so resistant, so that she just she just has to take this action. So
step.
who
Yep.
is that in the relationship, so that is missing. That is like a phenomenal gap in the system.
Mm,
So these can be changed. The system has to address this. System has
mm.
to change this. System has to educate. So, this is the loopholes of the like loopholes of the law and system, and
Yeah.
that perpetrator use that against this victim survivor when the case goes to court, goes to the police.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I keep hearing that, oh, she made me angry. She
Yeah,
made me do
yeah,
it. No,
yeah.
nobody wants to break up
No,
their family
no,
unless
no.
you've done something in the
Yeah, so
past.
for that, of course, the system, if there is a, if there is an awareness about this, or there's some focus group discussions, and the council makes some of the the seminar or the small group discussions in the local area. So definitely, it like, okay, in terms of the legal things, so many women not do not know, and that's the persons using violence take the advantage of this.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah,
Especially new migrants, Triparna. I really
yeah,
feel, I think we were having that conversation one day that new migrants need to unlearn more
yeah.
because it's very hard to convince them otherwise.
Yeah, otherwise, right? So it's a very slow process. So
Mm.
when you said that how that is going to change, of course, the system like the government, local government, federal government, state
Yes.
government, police, like everything has to understand that. Of course,
Mm.
when everything has to understand this issue, this
Yes.
is absolutely legal. Like this victim survivor got a intervention order. It's not like
Mm.
she and then that victim survivors was considered as an alleged person, okay,
Mm.
who okay did the violence against her husband because of this reason, because police treated her. So this is like a legal gap, right? This is
Yes.
kind of the
Yes.
gap in the justice system.
Mm.
So the gap researchers, so current research is focusing on that, but I think the
It's
more
good.
research is required to address
Yes.
this issue so that it impacts on the policy inform the laws, and then laws has to change this
Yes.
whole context.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Research-based policy making is what we need.
Yes,
Need
right.
of the
So
hour.
why we are doing the research? Because it's
Absolutely.
the powerful academic tool, right?
Yes.
So we
Yes.
can voice through the research. It's not somebody say, "Oh, what you are doing the research? Research
Mm.
what? Why you require the research?" You do not understand the significance of the research we needed so that we can make the better future for our
Absolutely.
generations, right?
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah,
You raised an important point, what we are leaving for the future. And
yeah.
I'll take that cue for my next question is, um, when it comes to young people
Mm-hmm.
witnessing DV or any form of gender-based violence, right? What does the latest research tell us about that demography, about young people being subjected to violence?
Yeah. So the recent research has moved away from describing children as witness or secondary victims. Instead,
Mm.
exposures to domestic violence and family violence is recognized as a form of child abuse
Mm.
that can cause direct and cumulative harm, even when violence is not directed at the child physically. So the national Australian data show that violence exposure affects children's health, well-being, educations, and social development with impacts that can persist into adulthood. So
Right.
many, I wanted to uh, just inform to our listeners that if you think that the children are living, because it's educational, right? So I have to educate the people as well. So if you think that the children are sleeping in another room, and then the fighting is going on, and then escalations happens, you just don't feel like the children are not involved. Children exposed to family violence,
Mm.
the children also experience this violence as well.
Yes.
So many
Mm.
women and men do not understand, oh, my child is not there, child just sleeps in another. When that occurred, the child slept in another room. It's not true. Regardless of child sleeping and not present in the bathroom or kitchen, wherever in the house, if
Yes.
that fight continued, and because it's not the once in, like, it's not the one day, right, one day phenomenon. It's just the
Mm.
everyday phenomenon is happening, like everyday phenomenon, family violence. When this has happened, when there is a the relationship, there's no respect, all
Yes.
the time argue is not the argument, another person putting another person in a fear is a really like
Mm.
this word is really important to the family violence, right? The children are witness, it's not the witnessing, exposing daily basis. So whether
Mm.
children are sleeping, not sleeping, doesn't matter. they're exposed to family violence.
I agree. But Jimanati, when
Mhm.
young people get into a relationship, right? Very young, like after college or uni, does research have any data or whether they experience domestic violence in their intimate partner relationships?
So the so a lot of the studies, a lot of studies, sorry, a lot of study, of course, has done when the young people, the experience, because what you are talking about, the when children just going to the university and
Yes.
college,
Mm,
and so they are young adults, right? Of
mm,
course, that
yeah.
impacts their mind. And what happened that so the people are not because it impacts on the pattern of the behavior,
Yes. Mm,
right? It impacts on your mind. Some, the children can't move away from the incidents what they're just experiencing
mm,
at
mm,
home and in the relationship. When they moved out from the home, that still sits with them, right? So research has done. So it's kind of the height they just heighten their anxiety, depressions, post-traumatic stress
mm.
symptoms are very rigorous, and then there is a lot of the sleep disturbance,
Yep.
and then emotional dysregulations, and they just have a great concentrations difficulty. Yes, and when what is that the young people sometimes are often they actively involved, so not like a passive observers,
Mm.
but the research highlights that young children, sorry, the children and the young, the adults are
Adults.
frequently
Mm.
trying to intervene to stop violence,
Yes.
protecting siblings or parents, calling emergency services, assisting with injuries, or managing crisis, the after incidents. So
Mm.
these experiences place children in adult-like roles under conditions of fear.
Wow.
So which intensifies the trauma and feelings of responsibility and guilt. So many qualitative Australian research and national, the commentary stress that these realities are still under recognized by services.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
So these impacts are not uniform, so but risk increases with the durations
Mm.
and severity,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
So
Agree.
I have seen that the 12 years old child try to protect his mother from PUV,
Yes.
because that PUV hold a knife
Yes.
to threat the victim survivor, and that child just wanted to protect. And then he, and after it is not a, because it didn't end there, so he had to go to the court and asking the questions, and so much trauma. You can imagine that how trauma
Yes. Yeah.
impacted his kind of
Brain.
behavior,
Yep. Yep.
impacted his mind, right?
Yes.
So the seats with the, so the what do you mean by the trauma, right? The trauma means the person experienced that situation, so
Yes.
that the experience sits with this mind, and then not
Exactly.
the getting over of this
Mm,
kind of
mm. Yeah.
experience.
Yes, I agree. But I read somewhere that it is not the child's responsibility to take care of his or her parent. And
Wow.
in these cases, in these households, it often comes down to the child to save the mother or the father or the siblings from,
Yes,
as
yes,
you mentioned, which is PTSD because when they grow up, they'll either
yes.
have trauma or they'll have fear or they have relationship phobia because they've seen something in their childhood, which is
And
exactly what you
yeah,
mentioned.
and that young people not getting into the relationship, they just, because the mistrust and then
Yes,
fear
yes.
just the
Mm.
growing inside
Yep,
their body
yep.
and mind. So there is no chance of and they just don't trust adults then.
Mm,
So like, so that's why we have to think that what is the impact of the family violence on
mm,
young people
mm.
when the adults are doing this, so they have to
Yes.
think about children. But to be very honest, Chris, though, I just have, of course, have like 6 years experience just working in this
Mm,
family violence domain, and then I saw, especially that I just don't want to frame men, but many,
mm.
the man, I can say that anyway. So the in the relationship, many parents, especially father, not able to understand that what they're
Mm.
doing, even though not this is the one only. So what they're doing, they're bribing the children, Oh, I'm going to give
Mm.
you the gifts to, you know, yes, I'm giving you the gifts. So your mom is bad. Your mom is not good mom, I have seen the victim survivor said, "Oh, my children's father giving them now the very expensive iPad. They're happy with that, but I couldn't afford." So
Mm.
that is the manipulations happen, and then constantly that PUV used the kept gaslighting the children.
Oh my God. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
bribing them, and then constantly talk negative about their mom, constantly talk negative about this women in the relationship, as if the women doesn't exist in the relationship, doesn't contribute anything in the family. That's what the children, they just created some of the image, I am very good and your other person
Yes,
like
ma'am.
mom is
Mm.
very bad.
Mm.
So that impacts children a
Of
lot,
course. Of course.
and they just missing these kind of connections with their mother.
Mm.
I have seen, my research participant told me that her child was taken away by PUV, and then he didn't allow that child to talk to her mom on her birthday. And then she called very like only, and then that victim survivors just kept calling their
Yeah.
PUV just for 5 minutes. I really wanted to talk to my child. And then just for 5 minutes, yeah, mom, okay, yeah. So child was in the fear, and then because the research participant told me the child was in the fear on the phone that she couldn't even talk to her mother properly because
Mm.
that person was just next to her.
Yeah. Yeah.
So much
This is.
so the PUV, uh, using these tactics in such a negative way, and this is of course there is a theory, the power and control theory is there.
Mm. Mm.
So they
Mm.
always just use these tactics to abuse women, always. Children are really scapegoat, children are really exposing family violence, but they are very vulnerable, they're not able to
Yes.
understand all this.
Agree. Absolutely. Absolutely agree.
Yeah.
Um, to our listeners again, if this is too much for you because
Yeah.
we're talking about children and might get your heart a bit heavier, please feel free to step back and come back when you're ready to have the conversation or listen to it again. And if you feel that you might be having these symptoms around you or anyone you know might be affected, please reach out to someone. Please speak up. It's always okay to speak up for any kind of violence you might be experiencing. Triparna, thank yes.
And one
I'll
thing,
yep.
yeah, one thing I just wanted to stress, like the recent research emphasized that children want their experience acknowledged, and to be listened to safety, and to have input into the decision affecting them. So the
Mm.
trauma informed and participatory research shows that excluding children's voice leads to misaligned with the services and poor outcomes.
There
So
you go.
that's a
So
recent, yes,
you
research
often
study.
think that children are not important, but they are crucial. They are the
Yes,
key
they're
here.
crucial.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
We've talked about power, we've talked about fear, we have talked about child being the savior sometimes, but often, Tripanadi, you might have seen it more than me, that there is this economic factor or the financial dependence of a woman factor, right? How do these things, how do economic and financial factors impact a victim's ability to
Hmm.
leave an abusive situation, according to recent studies?
So economic abuse definitely actively traps, according to recent studies I'm talking about, that the economic abuse actively traps victims in a relationship, definitely.
Mm.
And this abuse is now recognized as more of the tactic of coercive control,
Mm.
not just the consequence of violence, but it includes the controlling access to money or bank accounts, the preventing or sabotaging employment or
Yes.
education, accumulating debts in the victim's name, and withholding the basic resources. So, Andrew's research, it's the Australian National Research Organizations for Women's Service. So that research shows that economic abuse is frequent and under recognized, and it directly restricts victims' capacity to live by destroying their financial autonomy and outside options. Of course, this is the research fact, and my research also telling that, Chris, it is very important to let everyone knows that it's not only the economic, if the person is unemployed
Yeah.
or if the person is not financial independent. I have seen women working, but still there is economic abuses going on.
Mm. Mm.
Okay. So I have seen the women are working, and she was the bread. It's a bread. Yes, winner of the family. So she was the main primary, sole provider in the
Mm.
in
Yes.
the family. But still, like the POV husband, just they're taking her money as if like he is the sole provider and he is running family. So I have seen that as well. Okay, so it is because especially happens with the migrant community.
Mm. Mm.
Especially happens in the migrant community. All these, the whatever women earn just going to the person's account, and sometimes what happens, that person without letting his partner know, without consent, without her consent, he keeps
Yes.
sending money to the overseas. Okay, and that is why Dr. Supriya Singh's research is really important, because
Yes.
so she focused on this problem, and then she just addressed this problem as a gendered money. So it is the gender-based violence. So gendered, it comes to this money. Okay, so okay, you are women, whether you earn or not doesn't matter. It comes to my account because I'm your husband.
Yeah.
And that makes her feel like, oh, what is that, like even though I have seen the women couldn't leave because there is no money in her account.
No, man.
So that is acute economic abuse and financial abuse. So it's not like the financial abuse said, okay, women are so much dependent on men, that's why, or husband or partner, that's why they couldn't leave the situation. It's not like that. Even though women uh, maybe financially not dependent, but indirectly dependent because of this abuse is going on. And then she is not able to understand that what is going on with her. I said there is economic abuse as well. You have to speak up for your own
Yes.
account, whatever you earn. Even the person is some, persons using violence. Some I have seen the POV misusing the social welfare benefit, that all the maybe that the his partner
Mm.
is registered with Centrelink. Okay, and then but all the money, the two different names are there for the family, but all the money goes to the PUV's account. She's not getting anything. And then I have seen the women just telling me, oh, my husband gives me $50 per week, or $100 per week to look after children. Even though women is working, women is, maybe they just work, not baby, sorry, I have seen women working, and then still they're saying, okay, my husband give me a pocket money. I say, what the hell?
Yeah.
Like, why the husband is giving you the pocket money, but you earn, right? Yeah, I earn, but I just don't know how to manage Triparna. I do how to manage this money, so that's why I just, whatever I earn, I just say, okay, that going to account joint. We do have a joint account, not a problem. So he runs the family. That's okay. But that person has like that the person doesn't work. That person doesn't work. That woman works, and then that happens. This is what you can say. What you can say. This is
I know.
absolutely economic violence,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
So as if that the violence, why we are calling the violence? This is her economic right. You are violating this right, right?
Mm.
And then when women, when the situation comes and they escalated to the level that she has to leave, then there is no money in her account.
Yes. Mm. It's
Although
violence.
she is working, she's independent. I know that one of the research participants told me that she filed the PR just coming here.
Hmm.
But the husband, oh, but husband think that she's the property, like as if all the, the South Asian men think that I am man, such a patriarchal mentality. So
Yes.
yes, and they just, and then she thinks that, oh, whatever you applied for PR, you did everything, but you are wife, which means you are down.
Yes.
I'm man in this family. Doesn't matter. So people I have seen, I have heard like many people just say that, okay, who to talk and where to go and
Mm.
how to reach out to the help. So
Yep.
definitely there. So mainly the women, I think, needs to be aware. Need to be aware a lot. So
Absolutely.
only just not men. It applies both of them.
Yes.
Men and women need to
Both.
be aware,
Mm.
okay, about these services, everything,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
And also sorry, it is just economic abuse, I think, is related to the mental and emotional violence too,
Yes.
right?
Mm.
So you can think that I'm earning and everything goes to his account and he's controlling everything, and how do you feel? It's my money, I do have right on this money, right?
Mm.
So that person, the research participant told me, and then her husband said, oh, I didn't hit you, I didn't slap you, so it's not
Mm.
a violence, right?
Yes.
And
Mm.
then she said, no,
This
you
is
are
violence.
sabotaging my account, my
Mm.
finance. You are
True.
doing this something. There is no concept about the mental violence as it, because this is very coercive, and this is kind of invisible. That's my research as
Exactly.
well. So it
Yeah.
is invisible. It is not
Mm.
visible. It's
Mm.
more, beyond of this visibility. That is more
Yes.
harmful.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You're so right, Pranadi, that we only see signs that are on the face and the body, but something that affects the
Yeah.
mind,
No, we
we
can't
don't register
see.
it.
Absolutely, yes.
Triparna, speaking of mental health, the
And
question
also,
is,
sorry to cut
yes,
you
no,
off.
no,
So
go ahead.
that's why that it directly, the restrict victims' capacity to live by destroying their financial autonomy
Yes,
and outside options.
I agree. I
Yes.
agree totally. But speaking of mental health, Triparna, I'll come to you as an individual. Triparna, on a difficult day, how do you take care of your mental health?
On a difficult day, I just, of course, to take care of my mental health means I just don't do something. I really want to watch travel videos. I watch travel videos. I want to just stay away from my mobile. I want to
Yeah.
stay away from all these things,
Social media.
that
Yeah.
social media, and from that topic, family violence, practice
Yes.
everything.
Mm.
And then I just keep watching my travel documentary. Sometimes I go for a walk
Mm.
and just go for a walk and then just have coffee and enjoying the nature. And then sometimes I often, it's not like often, but I really just like going to redwood forest because it's a big, the trees,
Yeah.
and it's such a serene, beauty of the nature. I just really enjoyed. So that's how I just take care of my mental
Lovely.
health. Yeah.
Lovely. And before we let you go, Triparna, what would be your one-liner message to our listeners?
So I think it is really important for all victim survivors of domestic and family violence.
Mm.
They need to speak up for themselves,
Yes.
okay? And they need to learn the two words no and stop, all right? And keep intact your autonomy
Mm.
and identity. Don't lose it. And that keeps, because that is your foundation and that
Yes.
keeps building your confidence and capacity.
Yes.
And I really wanted to emphasize because it's a I have because that when people I have heard say that, oh, why did she can't, or she can't leave the situation, So why she's enduring, I see through my research and analysis, it's not the endurance. It's kind of the spiritual upliftment, just, the mastering and then collecting the courage inside you so that you can take the action.
Yes, correct. Absolutely.
So yes, so that is the main message to the listeners.
Thank you, Triparna. And if someone wants to connect with you, where can we find you on social media?
I'm not very active on social media, but of course they can connect me through LinkedIn.
LinkedIn. Okay, good. Thank you, Tripanadi. This was a very insightful, informative, and a heartwarming conversation because, you and I, we are talking in our rooms, but at this moment, we never know someone might be
Yeah,
experiencing these
and
symptoms. Yes,
yeah,
Tripan.
sorry, I just
No, no,
really
please.
I really wanted to share just to let public, the people, sorry, listener
Yes.
know that, should I? Okay, 69 women were just killed due from 2023 to 2024 due to domestic and family violence. So just keep that in mind. We do not have the latest data, but we do have the data that released by ABS, Australian Bureau of Statistics, and then Australian Institute of Health and Welfare analyzed that. Yeah. So sorry to
16. No?
inform this because data is sometimes important,
Absolutely.
right?
Very, 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 very.
Yeah.
So to our listeners, 69.
Mm.
69 women they
Killed,
lost their lives.
lost their lives
Yeah.
due
Please
to
keep that
domestic.
in mind.
Yeah. 2023 to 2024.
Yes.
That's
Like
the,
financial year 23-24, 69 was the number.
yes.
The reason we are having these conversations, not one off, but periodically, regularly, and we want to have more of these, we want to bring this number to a zero. We
Yes,
don't want to lose any
absolutely.
more
Yeah.
lives to gender-based violence. So
Yes.
this was Triparna there. She's doing her research, and very soon, fortunately, we'll be able to call her Dr. Triparna there as well.
Thank you.
Um, and the other reason where I feel that we need to have these conversations is there are many parts in the world, Tripanadi, where women don't
Yes.
have that autonomy, that narrative, the platform. This awareness is important to them as well. We
Yeah,
need to
and
stand up
then
for them.
I really wanted to congratulate you as well, Chris, because what you are doing is phenomenal. I know you that you are doing this, keep doing this for so long time. Instead, despite that you are not coming from that domain, your research is definitely very different from gender-based violence. But you are just keep doing this as a woman, what you feel, and yeah, because I feel like that you are an activist now, so this is really this is really important, so the women if just to come forward and doing something about the
Yes.
society so we can make the changes,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely. So, our
So
listeners, if you have heard this for the first time, as I mentioned, if you
yeah,
feel yourself or anyone around you is experiencing these symptoms, please speak up. Please take help around yourselves. Please speak up to any friend and ally and get the help you need.
yeah,
And if you have any thoughts or comments, please write to me at awazehaqiqat@gmail.com, or you can also reach out to me on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. If you want to connect with Triparnadi, you can find her on LinkedIn. And if you've heard us for a while, if you like the content that's being put on the table, please write to me at awazehaqiqat at gmail.com as well. I love to read what you think about the podcast. On that note, Tripanadi, thank you so much. And
no
I think it's very
worries.
timely that we had this conversation a little around Women's Day as well. So
Yeah,
I hope we can come around for many more of these conversations in the
yes, right.
future. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much.